What is going on, comic fam? It's your boy, the bearded comic bro, and I am joined by my friends, comic creators, Will and Alan. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, why do you keep doing this to yourself?
Because you keep asking me, and I don't know how to say no. Like,
it's my eyes, isn't it? You just
it's like, they've been nice to me. If I bring them back, I can't. Actually, it's because you promised me that you'd bring Will with you this time.
Yeah, right. You can't have me just by myself.
I was missing last time.
Last time I was like, Alan's like, "Hey, we're here," and it's like, "Where's Will?" And I was like, "All right, we'll deal with it." But Dave was there, and then he was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember at that time. It kind of rushes together because it happened at the same time. Will was starring in a play for Misery, Stephen King's Misery, and he also got COVID.
Yes.
So it was a factor of both.
You were in Misery for real life.
Yeah, real life. It was a miserable month. I'm not gonna lie. Well, that's not entirely true. Looking back on it, it was one of those months where it was very satisfying.
Yeah.
Looking on everything that I did, but COVID, inevitably, I knew that if I got it, it would be at the worst possible time, and it was right when everything was happening.
You're like,
and we missed our second weekend of Misery because of it. They had to, postpone, shut down performances for that weekend, but yeah, it was a crazy week, crazy month.
Sheesh, that stinks. Well, gang, if you don't know Will and Alan, you don't watch my show, because I had them on last month and then the month before that, because I feel like you guys drop a comic every single month and you're like, hey, how's Tune is too soon to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But no, you guys are the brains behind Pocus Hocus, and we've talked about Pocus Hocus a lot, and gang, we're not actually gonna probably talk about it too much tonight because we got some other stuff we need to talk about tonight. But in honor of it, I am wearing this dope Pocus Hocus shirt.
Yeah, that tarot card shirt turned out so awesome.
And it's so funny too, because I had it sitting there. I'm like, I'm gonna wait to wear it for this interview, and then I unfold it and I look at it, and then it's got Pocus Hocus on the back. I didn't even know that until I put it on. I was like, man,
yeah, we went the extra mile, dude.
You guys step it up. I'm like, man, that's fancy. So, well, gang, like I said, you guys have been with Pocus Hocus. We can talk about a whole bunch of stuff, but we actually talked a little bit about Grandma Chainsaw last time because you guys were getting ready to tease it. I think we actually showed the trailer on this show.
Yeah, we premiered it here. Yeah,
I mean,
oh sweet.
Yeah, okay. So
it's a good trailer.
it was a great I mean, Will was kind of one of those like, we can't have Will, but we can give you a really dope trailer. And
it's
that was better. I mean, it said more about the comic than I could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we didn't talk about the comic very much. And at that time, I hadn't gotten to read the Ashcan, which was available to get alongside the in the last Kickstarter. And now you guys are in the midst of another Kickstarter. How's it going, by the way?
So again, the support has just been absolutely unreal, and we funded within the first 12 hours on this one too. So it's strange because it's a new title, and with a new IP, it's always going into. I think that's something Will and I kind of had to talk ourselves off about, right? Like, because it was crazy because this isn't Pocus Hocus 5.
Right.
So we can't compare it to Pocus Hocus 4's campaign because that was our biggest campaign we ever had. So it's like, oh my gosh, like, are we going to be able to do this again? How can we do this again? But it's a whole new IP.
Yeah.
But everyone showed up again, and we're on a roll, man. As of recording this, we hit over 100 backers. We're on our way to the sweet 125 right now. Unlocked our first stretch goal, and we're almost at 5K. Like, it's wild, and just thank you everybody from the bottom of our soulless grandma chainsaw hearts. Thank you.
Y'all, I don't even know why are we even doing this interview then. Like, all right, gang, that's it. It's already funded, so you don't need to promote it with me anymore.
Oh, Lord, we have so much more to go, and I think we have 24 days left still, but still no signs of slowing down. And just thank you. And I don't really know what else to say.
Absolutely. We didn't know what to expect, because when we're working on first and foremost, we just had the experience of working on Pocus Hocus before this.
Right.
And so with Pocus Hocus, whenever we're working on the title, we're always in that world. So it's like, we'll have our writing sessions, of course, but then we'll have phone conversations and stuff like that, where what we're working on will come up in conversation. So there for a while, it was Grandma Chainsaw instead of Pocus Hocus, when we were kind of starting that. And by the time we launched it, we had to remind ourselves, it was like, okay, this is a new title, because in our minds, it's not a new title. It's, we've got 2 scripts done, and we're like so excited about it. And so that was it. I mean, we've said on multiple interviews before, every campaign is different. And I mean, that's definitely true. And this was no exception.
Yep.
Well, and I'll allow the multiple interviews because I had to delay getting you guys on for this one. So I'll allow you talking to other people before me about this. So that's, but I just want to just remember your plays. All right.
Right.
So we've talked about Grandma Chainsaw, but we haven't really talked about it, because I don't want to be naive to think that everyone has watched every single interview I've ever done. So if someone's new to it, I always start off the interviews by going, how'd you guys get into comics? Mm-hmm. Dear Lord, I'm not asking you, Alan, about your collecting anymore.
Please don't. Just don't. No. I don't want to lose.
You can see it right in the background. It's a beautiful collection.
Well, and plus, no, he's talking about the before time. Will.
I'm talking about the before time. Whenever we talk about his origin story, and a 3-hole puncher gets its wings.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So if you don't get that joke,
I do remember that.
One of the other previous episodes.
I had forgotten about that story, but now I remember it. And,
I did too, because he told it the first time I was on, and then when Dave and Alan were on again,
you asked again.
I asked again because I was like, because people don't. And Alan's like, you sure you want? I was like, as soon as he started telling, I was like, oh dang it, no, I don't want to hear. So we're not asking origin stories anymore. We're done with that. If you want to know how they got into collecting and writing comics, you can go back and watch the other videos, listen to the podcast. They'll be linked in the description.
Yeah.
Grandma Chainsaw. What is it about? Tell me that pitch, because this is the first time we're actually, again, I joked about, we were talking about Pocus Hocus for the last 2 times. We're now doing an interview in a new world. So this is like, it feels even fresh with this of like, we can talk about other stuff. And so what is Grandma Chainsaw?
Yeah, this is, we always obviously want to try to capture with the title, Pocus Hocus, you kind of understand that there's going to be some magic in there, but it's still some mystery. Like what is Pocus Hocus about, right? Grandma Chainsaw, it kind of does what it says on the label. So Grandma Chainsaw is just it's our love letter to our favorite types of horror movies, slashers, Evil Dead, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, fun campy horror stuff. It's about a serial killer grandma that has a chainsaw.
It sells itself. Yeah. Gang, you say the title, like there's a reason, it's able to get you where you're at on the first day of kickstarting. So.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the driving Miss Daisy meets Evil Dead pitch.
Okay.
Somebody asked me for an elevator pitch.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, I don't have one. Cause like, it's like in my mind, Grandma Chainsaw is the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
The title? Right? Do I need to explain it more?
Yeah.
So, but what's the idea of this? I know you're paying tribute to slasher film, but what's the background, the basis of this comic really about?
I guess kind of the origin to it. Will and I, we wanted to really do something in horror. And of course we still want to marry our comedy side to everything too. This actually came about because I have too much free time on my hands because I work in home health. So I have a lot of drive time for whenever I have to go from one place to another. And believe it or not, gang, I actually have a very soft spot for the geriatric population. I was actually raised by my grandparents, so I think a lot of those jokes that we have in here kind of come from that, and just the differences in generations and how we can view being raised or just being around your grandparents for so long, right? Because some stuff that matters to them doesn't matter to us, blah blah blah, right? But no, so I called Will and I said, Will, I think I have an idea. If we ever want to do like a horror anthology, we could do it about this grandma. Because Will, what was the first title for it? Like Grandma Buzzsaw, I think.
It was it was Grandma Buzzsaw or Mama Chainsaw, or maybe it went through both of those variations at the same time.
We were just talking about it, and I said, well, what about, like, it's this creepy downstairs basement cellar, looks like a torture dungeon, she's killing people, and then she hears a knock at the door, goes upstairs, and it's like her grandson, they're in this big suburban neighborhood, and no one knows anything. So we just thought that was kind of a fun thing just to toy around with, and then it just expanded into, why don't we just make a slasher, because Will's always wanted to make a slasher.
Oh yeah.
So then we were able to do that, and here we are.
Yeah, he came to me with this. I've always, so in my mind I have a laundry list of things that have just been waiting to get into a slasher project. I don't, be it like a movie, a comic book series, fully aware they're not the same thing, two different types of beautiful individual mediums, but either I just wanted to do this, but when Alan came to me with this idea of like Grandma Chainsaw, I had to go back to the drawing board, because it was like, all right, this opens up a completely new door for all kinds of new and inventive kill scares, setups, all this stuff, and it's really been like awesome dreaming this stuff up. So it's kind of a dream come true in a way.
So first and foremost, I've got to say, y'all pissed me off though, because when I read the ash can, I was like, that's it, I want more. Like, I know what an ash can is, I know the purpose, but I was putting off reading it because I knew we were having the interview. I'm like, I'm gonna prep, I'm gonna give myself some time to read this, and I'm like, I want more. So how long is, like, I know we're in the midst of the Kickstarter right now. Mm-hmm. How long is this first issue that you guys are kickstarting?
Yeah, so this first issue is 28 pages.
Okay.
And we are actually almost done with it, which is awesome. We at the time of filming this, we have finished up to page 20, and Brian is still moving at breakneck speed, because I think that's one thing that we always try to pride ourselves on, is when a Kickstarter ends, we get the product out as soon as possible,
right?
Whether it be PDF or print, because we do understand and try to take into account that the paper shortage is a real thing, and it hit us really hard for Pocus Hocus 3. We got it out a little later than what we really wanted to. But yeah, ultimately that's our number one thing, is making sure our customers taken care of, because they don't have to spend their hard-earned money on our stupid idea, but they do.
Well, I'll tell you what, like, and this is one where I appreciate, the behind the scenes aspect of a Kickstarter and what you all have to go through to do it, because I've backed Kickstarters before I had you on the first time, mm-hmm. that I still haven't gotten rewards for.
Well, yeah. Same, right? Like,
I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yep.
And it just is so. And everyone operates in their own way, and that's no shade to any of the creators that like I've had on or I've backed or something. But man, I do appreciate when I'm like, if I can back something, I know it's like,
yeah.
And right. I mean, I'm gonna get it anyway, so I don't. It's not like I don't, but I like. There's something about just knowing like, I'm getting it soon, like it's coming.
Yeah, and again, that's something we pride ourselves on, and I'm sure we'll get into this once we actually go through the Kickstarter stuff. But we always want to make sure that the people that are taking care of us are taken care of.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got a lot of the creative team back from doing Pocus Hocus stuff. Is there anyone new, or is it basically the same?
It's the same people.
I was gonna say, I thought it was the same.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I thought it was the same team. So, I want to ask, because this isn't giving away anything, because it was in the ash can. That title page was fantastic, where it had all of the creative team on it, the crochet, like,
yeah.
Dude, I was cracking up as I'm reading this. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And so I'm sorry if you're reading, you haven't read it, and you're going to get upset that I spoiled a crochet title page for y'all, but or macrame, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a grandma. I don't know. But
I told it to Dave. I was like, because we were trying to think of an idea. Originally, we were bouncing off ideas of it looking like a scrapbook or something like that. But I was like, why don't we just do a crochet? And Dave was like, I actually don't have any lettering for crochet. Because he's never made a crochet title page. So because of me, anyone else that may work with Dave, if they need crochet font, you're welcome.
Yeah.
They're like, Dave, so I got this idea. It's a crossover with Golden Girls. And but I don't know if I have the right, lettering for it. Don't worry. I got you.
I got you, fam.
It's so good. So you kind of, like you said, I know you said like you working with your job, Alan, of kind of, filtering into this with it. And Will, you've always had a love for slasher movies and things like this. And when this idea, where did you like, okay, I know I have an idea and we're running with it. Where did that kind of like, this is it? Where was that moment for you?
I guess, Will, that kind of falls to you, right? Because once I just pitched it to you.
Yeah, it was instantaneous.
Yeah.
The pitch, and then coupled with the title. I mean, we joke a lot about the title, and it's something, but it really that really is, something about it when you tell people what it's called, if they are fans of this particular genre and this kind of thing, like their eyes light up, immediately. So I just knew instantaneously, and then it just immediately reminded me of some of the things that I love, the classic slasher films that I love, and in my mind I immediately thought Evil Dead, and then I thought House, or Hausu from the late 70s, the Japanese movie, because the I know that's a ghost story, but the things that happen in that movie are so insane and just so crazy and bizarre. And there is she's not a grandma, she's an aunt in that movie, I think. But that just like, I think that's been in the back of my mind a lot too, because for some reason that just like lit up in my head when he mentioned it. So of course, anything that checks all of those boxes, I don't know that I could even come up with an idea like that myself. And then Alan has this this crazy whacked out thing, and then it just all married together like really, really well, I think.
Yep. So is this book suitable for grandparents to read?
Yeah. So
is it an all ages book, or is it from like, is this like from 12 to 62 are allowed to read this book?
You've read the Ash Can. What would you give it, right?
The Ash Can is like
pretty mild compared to some of the
Disney compared to
some of the stuff we get into, which I'm so excited.
It's not for kids unless you hate your kids. Like I don't think grandparents either, although I have met some eccentric elderly people in my day who would probably go for it.
So my grandmother, who is an angel on earth, is so excited for this book because she thinks it is so funny.
Yeah.
The character in it, Hazel, our grandma who has a chainsaw, is actually named after my great grandmother, Hazel. So yeah, my grandma just thought that was so funny. And for you guys watching this, my grandma's to blame for this for me. Yeah.
So we can thank her for that, man. Yeah. That's fantastic. It's so funny because whenever I get a Kickstarter, pack, I get comics in the mail a lot, and I'll open them up, and my kids will be like, "Oh, what is this? What's this?" Like, I'll have to make sure, like, I can't open up this package in front of you guys.
not this time.
Like, yeah, it's why does the old lady have a chainsaw? Although I feel like they'd be like, oh, that makes sense. Our grandma one of their grandmas just out in the woods all the time, just like, doing yard work stuff. Like, so from that aspect, not killing people, right? Like, she's like, I was like, oh, what do you mean? Like, oh yeah, she's a murderer too. Cool. No. But that's fun, man. That's such a cool idea. And I want to get into Kickstarter, but I got to ask, like, as you're writing this and you're picturing this, and if it was to be made into a horror movie, do you have a grandma picked out for it?
Will, this is you, Will. You're good on the fly with this stuff. Of course, I'm always going to go to Meryl Streep, but
well, yeah. Meryl Streep can play anybody.
Yep, she'll play every character.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, I've thought of, so I have thought about this, believe it or not, but I have always thought about this particular series, something similar with Pocus, but this one especially in the context of like animation.
Okay.
But Pocus, I feel like would adapt, would translate, weirdly enough, maybe translate better to live action even than this. But this one could translate well to live action. As far as like who would play the Grandma Hazel, I really don't know. I almost feel like it would have to be somebody who is not even just a character actor, but oh gosh, who is that guy who plays all the Del Toro monsters? It always goes back to Del Toro, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The guy who plays all the Del Toro monsters, he did the Fawn and Pan's Labyrinth and Abe and Hellboy.
Oh, is it Doug
Jones?
Doug
is that
Jones.
Who it is? Doug Jones.
Doug Jones, I think, because he was a Silver Surfer in the Fantastic Four Silver Surfer movie. I think, like,
yeah. Or wait, yeah. So I mean, like Doug Jones could do it, or Andy Serkis or somebody, like somebody who is not has to have almost like a definitely like a creature aspect to them. You know what I mean? Like, because this particular character, I feel like is its own monstrous creation. It would be. I mean, but yeah, Meryl Streep could do something with it. I have total confidence.
Dude, if this was a slasher movie, I was like, my mind was scrolling. I was like, I'm like, well, nope, she's not alive. Nope, she's not alive. So like, I checked off a lot of boxes.
Right.
Well,
that's the thing, is like, who would play it? Like, who would play this that could really have that presence that's still alive.
Yeah.
I mean, Betty White would be more than anyone deserves ever.
Yes.
To play this, but yeah, no, there are options, and I still think as an animated thing, it would be really,
that's
really
cool.
fun also.
That's a cool idea. Let's hop into the Kickstarter aspect. You guys are funded, but I joked about like, oh, why have you? But there's so many. There's stretch goals, I'm sure, that you backing stuff from you all before. I know there has to be. If no one's ever backed to Kickstarter, again, shocker. I mean, I have Kickstarters on here all the time, gang. So I don't know why, but if you haven't, what's, kind of walk us through the Kickstarter a little bit of what you guys are excited about, what people can expect, what they can get, and what are some tiers.
This is one thing I really love talking about, because again, we always try to take care of new fans and old, even with an issue 1, and we always want to take care of everybody in general. We never want anyone to ever feel like they're strong-armed into getting something from us. So we always kind of make everything an a la carte system, right? So if you don't want to get the big tier that has everything, then you can go ahead and just like, well, maybe I'll just want cover A, and then I also want to go ahead and add on a metal cover. You don't have to go to the big tier to get all the stuff together. So you can really plug and play and just build your own tier. And that's something we've always wanted, and we felt it's fair, for everybody. But we have a lot of fun stuff on here, and everyone involved. It seems like this idea just sparked a lot of creativity with everybody, because it does not take itself too serious. And we didn't want anyone to take themselves too seriously, because then I feel like we would have missed the mark. Like if something like this wouldn't have been funny, we would have done ourselves a disservice, and I don't think it would be where it is right now. Right?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I just want to add to that really quick that, I mean, we have this thing going about the title, but yeah, this is an example of what I'm talking about, and I think Alan is, as well, is when we like this. I feel like this particular project is like perfectly designed for the comic medium, because you say it, and the artists that we're working with and creative team we're working with, like something about it just well, like the title creates its own world that can then be interpreted through the artist's lens, better than a lot of other ideas and specific ideas. So I think that it just lends itself really well to things like variant covers, and then stickers and different designs and things like that, because it's so broad in terms of potential design. You know what I mean? For like this concept of like grandma chainsaw. So
well, and I appreciate how you all do it Kickstarter, and and I've been so out of whack. Like I haven't even gotten to go to back it. Like you're at 100 and I haven't even gotten to back it yet. So like that's all, like that'll be on my to-do list here. But what I love, like I mean, I got Grandma Chainsaw here, and Hocus is probably on the trade here shelf somewhere. Yeah. And that's what I got with the last issue.
Hang on 1 second. Just look at that. I'm so happy with how that turned out.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And yeah, and then you get the ash can with that, and then you had the Horus ash can. So like I love that, because there are times where it's like I knew I wanted those ash cans. I was like, I gotta have it. But sometimes you, like you said, you gotta back this $50 tier, and I'm just like, I can't, as much as I'm trying to do Kickstarters and support creators and stuff, I'm like, there are sometimes where I'm like, I gotta just get the book, but so I could get issue 4, and then I could get the trade, and I love that I could piece together my package I want. Like I could piece together like the bundle that worked for me, and I thought that's a really cool. And I'm starting to see more creators do that, and I think that's so much appreciated as a fan as well.
Well, good, glad to hear. Because like I said, again, that's really big for us, because that lets us know we're doing something right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess some of the things that we're really excited about on here, and we finally got a chance to show it on here. We actually got picked up by SourcePoint Press for this one, so we're 2 for 2 right now.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
We still have a long way to go with Grandma Chainsaw. We have 4 issues planned for it, so it's kind of cool to get picked up before issue 1 finished.
Yeah,
right.
So let me ask you that, if you don't, and talk about as much as you can with. I know we kind of dove into this a little bit last time, because I think last time I had you guys on, or last time you were talking about Pocus Hocus, I think like a week before, you had just announced like with SourcePoint and picked up Pocus Hocus. So what's the process then for being with SourcePoint and then having a Kickstarter running? Like, what's the benefit? Like, I don't know, as a collector, of having a publisher backing you through a Kickstarter, and is that translate to other stuff down the road? What does that look like?
Yeah, definitely. So so this is a good sidebar before we actually dive into the Kickstarter. But so one great thing about SourcePoint, and this is not a criticism at all, they're very hands off. And I mean that in the best way possible.
That's a big plus.
Yeah, they really let us breathe and do what we want.
Big plus.
Because they know that they picked us up for a reason. So it's awesome to have that, right?
Yeah. I've been really impressed with that so far, just being with working with them and all that.
Yeah, and it's no time crunch. It's, just let us know whenever you guys are done. Like, and that's incredible.
Yeah.
Because they recognize that, we're all working class comic book creators. But so the benefit is definitely the label on there, because we're part of the Four Collared Fiends imprint, which is their subgroup that is Garrett Gunn, Kit Wallace, Dr. Christine Blanche, and Dave Lentz. So it's kind of cool to be lumped in with those great people. But yeah, so it kind of adds a little bit more collector's value to our Kickstarter, because whenever, just like with Pocus, whenever we have our national release date, which we'll be able to announce here sooner rather than later, all the comic book covers that you see of Pocus Hocus that you've already received are Kickstarter exclusive. There's going to be new covers that hit the shelves. And the same goes with Grandma Chainsaw. So all the covers that you see on here, the Brian Belando main cover, this is the only place you're going to be able to get it, because they want to separate what they put in the stores versus what we promote on Kickstarter. So, and it's just kind of cool, just having their backing and with their reach and fan base, so it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So it almost creates you can get on the ground floor, you can get it benefits a collector, right? You can get some collector aspects of, you can only get this here, you're not going to get it, SourcePoint's not going to then have it on their store online later, or vice versa. Like, if you want to get in on the ground floor of, this is going to be the first appearance of Grandma Chainsaw, or whatever, it's not going to be issue 1 of it when it comes in the stores and stuff like that. And
so you can be that guy waiting in the shadows of your local comic shop waiting for someone to be like, oh, Pocus Hocus 1 or oh, Grandma Chainsaw 1, what's this? And then you come out, I already have all 4 issues from the Kickstarter.
I know it all before
Yeah.
you know. You can be that person like, I can tell you how it ends.
Yeah.
The best person in the world.
Yeah.
That's what we call that person.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, hey, if they've got all 4 issues of Pocus Hocus and Grandma
Actually,
Chainsaw, you absolutely are calling them the best person ever.
Legitimately the best person in the world. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but that's a cool to, because I always wonder that, because I've seen it sometimes where there are books that because I know like Source Point will pick up a book that was a Kickstarter, and I haven't seen it too often where it's been. I know Scout does a little bit of that where they'd release Kickstarters, so this is a newer territory for me. So I was just kind of curious of that process of
so
being
for
released
us, though,
already with Source Point before.
Right. Yeah, so for us, it's just kind of a way for. I mean, it's what everyone does. That this is their hobby, right? This is not what we do professionally. We hope that it is one day. But yeah, so the Kickstarters are definitely a way just to support us from a grassroots standpoint, and to really help us keep going. Because comic books aren't cheap. they are not cheap. I thought Magic the Gathering was expensive, and then I got into making comic books, and oh my Lord.
Yeah, it's not. And so it's so cool to see that aspect, though, because again, you're trying to create something you love and you're getting it into the hands. And I think there's so much out there. There's a lot of people that are creating stuff, and it is probably a benefit to have a well-known indie publisher stamp on the book. It separates itself from the Kickstarter. So and it's because it's impressive, like you said, of you're not finished with the first issue, and it's like check.
It's a huge motivator for us to keep going, because obviously the Kickstarter spoke for itself with the outpouring of support, even just in the first 6 days that we've ran this thing. But also for Source Point to be like, yeah, we see the potential in this and we trust you guys, and I also think that speaks with Pocus Hocus too, for what they saw in that.
Yep. So Kickstarter, let's get back to that.
Okay, sorry, Kickstarter.
No, it was I took us down the rabbit hole. We talked off stage, behind off camera here or on camera, but when y'all couldn't see us talking, we were talking about going down rabbit holes, and and Alan and I tend to just
we have the same rabbit holes.
So what's some tiers that you're excited about? Some stuff that, because you said a lot of creativity was flowing.
Yes, so
apron.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a Grandma Chainsaw apron. Do you have it with you, Will?
I'll run it literally right in the next room.
Okay, I'll keep filling up the dead air.
Room? Actually, it might be here. It may have just slid behind the desk. Let me look.
Okay. But yeah, so while Will looks for our fantastic apron, one of my favorite things on here, I'm a sucker for t-shirts. We have a t-shirt that is crocheted font, and it says "Eat, Slay, Love" on it, and it has our logo on the back. And then here's the apron. Dude, the apron. Listen, the quality of this apron is no joke.
This is my home shopping network. Display here. So you've got. I mean, it's an apron, but like it's Grandma Chainsaw. So it's like that's my pitch for it. So like
and there's pockets. There
are. Yeah, there actually are pockets. Yeah,
a good apron. A good apron needs pockets.
Yes, it does.
And but I'll tell you, what I love is I saw, again, because I wasn't creeping on the Kickstarter. I just have a backlog with stuff. I know you guys were talking with Blake, and I saw the apron. I was just like, how do I not get that? I have a comic book cooking show that I do with the white. Well, how do I not have a comic book apron? Like stop. I need to.
We just thought it fit the theme, right? And I again, we have a lot of other ideas that we were tossing around that we're going to use for Kickstarter number 2.
And
because
we shirt.
Oh, the Eat, Slay, Love.
Yeah.
I mean, and gang, I'm telling you what, I'm wearing a shirt from the last Kickstarter. It's good material. It's quality. It's comfy. You got that logo. It pops right on the back. You can't see it. I'm not taking off the hoodie, but it's there.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Again, we're using the same company. It's ran by my friend Boski. He's done all of our merchandise. He did the aprons too. So Yeah, the aprons are actually embroidered, so it's kind of the 3D font feel on it. Yeah, Boski knocked it out of the park, man. The other two things that are really cool to us, we're running an exclusive UV light, black light activated cover. So we have 25 of those. They're all individually numbered, and yeah, it's the only way you can get it here. It just looks so sick. So this is an exclusive cover, so it's not a rehash of one of our other ones. This is totally done just by Brian.
Okay.
Yep. Speaking of Brian, as you scroll through the Kickstarter, you'll see our memory maker, and it is a photograph of Will next to Hazel, so you can be drawn beside Hazel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
Your own family portrait to hang above your fireplace.
Yeah. But
because I know everybody watching this show has a fireplace.
I mean,
who doesn't have a fireplace?
We're Midwesterners. We all have fireplaces.
Right.
Doesn't everywhere? It's like when I talk about like I'm shooting my videos here in my basement, and people are like, you have a basement? I'm like, oh, you're from Florida. Sorry.
Yeah, Florida. Everything's just one level.
Yeah.
You got a second story in Florida. You're bougie.
Oh yeah. So the other thing too is we always pride ourselves on puns and our stupidity. So we have It's a Catastrophe pack, which is all the variant covers that Kit Wallace has done for us, including his Grandma Chainsaw variant and Horse and Hell ash cans on here. And yeah, just metal covers, pretty much what you would expect. And then yeah man, we're just have fun with it, and then also offer a catch up for those who missed out on Pocus, because Grandma Chainsaws, it's going to bring in a different audience too.
Yeah.
You know, we're hoping to still see some of our Pocus people, but if they don't like it, it's totally fine. You know, but we just want to really expand our library and just show what else we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. And go check it out, gang. I'm telling you, if I read the ash can, I'm telling you, if they said that's Disneyland compared to what they're doing in the book, y'all, I'm gonna pray for your souls is what I'm gonna do. Like that's like you guys are starting to scare me a little bit. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. Well,
Grandma's super excited about this. Like, I don't know.
we just like the issue one of Grandma Chainsaw is absolutely it's mentally ill. It's absolutely insane. And in our conversations, Alan and I rarely even reference it at this point. We're referencing things that happen at the end of issue 2 going into issue 3 because they're just so much crazier. So
well, thank you for bringing that up, because this is actually a writer shift now, because the feeling that we have going from issue 1 to issue 2 was the same feeling we had going from issue 1 of Pocus to issue 2 of Pocus. Just because issue 1s are hard. We're setting the stage, we're world building, we're trying to do as much as we can get by without sacrificing story or character development. So issue 2, we really kind of get to cut loose. And issue 3 is going to be no different. So we're just so excited for the future. You know, issue 1's not even out yet, but we're just so excited for people to read issue 2 now. And we've already started on Pocus 5. We just got so much stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I feel like, just to add to that, just to be clear, to clarify something, what I was talking about before, more happens, in the first issue. More crazy stuff happens in the first issue of Grandma Chainsaw than in the first issue of Pocus even. So I feel like in the first issue of Grandma Chainsaw, it's like, there's this weird effortless balance there between exposition wasn't even really an issue for it. Like a lot enough happens in issue 1, I think, that could maybe even fill a series of like another group making that comic book. So it really is, there's a lot of awesome stuff that is happening, because like, if we're already bypassing issue 1 in our conversations, I feel like people will still be talking about things that happen in issue 1 by the time issue 2 hits. And that's a good place to be, because they're not going to know what hit them after they read that one. So
Well, gang, I feel like I could talk to y'all for
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, I'm really having to tone it back because I know we like to try to keep the show to X amount of minutes, but man,
we do. Because I'm like, I try always. I'm like, it's funny. I started when I first started doing interviews. It was 20 to 30 minutes was hard. Like that was it was it. Like that was all. And then now I'm like, I'm because I always like keep it at the length of a TV show for people's minds and stuff and busyness. And then now it's like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And I had a brother came to me that was like, have you ever thought about like shortening your interviews? I'm like, no, not anymore. Because
like
can't. If I can't, and otherwise it's like if they don't want to listen to it, they're not going to listen, whether it's 30 minutes or 45. So I was like, they're in. They're committed one way or the other. They're either committed to listen to it or not.
Well, I mean, we have a lot to say about this it's similar to Pocus, and that like by the time we had dropped like the first Kickstarter for Pocus, we were already like ahead in the story, like writing scripts and interviews. There was so much we wanted to say that we couldn't with the spoilers,
and that's
the same
thing too.
Yeah, it's the same thing here.
You don't where Grandma Chainsaw goes even after issue 1. It's so hard for us to say anything past what you've read without giving anything away.
It's one of those deals, and we just can't elaborate further than that, because it's like, yes, it delivers exactly what the title promises. That was always the point. If it didn't do that, it was a failure from day one. So it 100% does that. But at the same time, in ways we can't even fully verbalize or describe on the show, it opens up a lot of new doors at the end of the first issue that
trust us. If you came for a slasher series,
you'll get it.
You'll get it.
Yeah. So
let's go. Well, gang, where can people follow along with what you're creating, how to stay up to date with because like I heard you said Pocus 5's coming soon, and you guys are down the road already with Grandma Chainsaw. How can people follow along with what you're working on? What's the best way to stay in touch?
Now, instead of plugging socials, if you are into that, follow me on Twitter at Chaps of Fury. Will has his Instagram account, WillRad82, and he's got his Vimeo account, same name. But now we are so pleased to announce, we feel like after talking to so many creators, they feel like this is the best way to really stay in touch with their audience. We have started a Substack.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really excited about
Will graciously did all the skeleton work for the first one. I just plug and played a couple things. Didn't need to really edit anything because Will is just so good at that portion of everything. But yeah, so you can find us on Substack. We are the Top Hat Studios on Substack because someone already had Top Hat Studios.
y'all just sent one out today, didn't you?
Yesterday, actually.
Yesterday. It just dropped.
I literally I completely blanked on that because I was like, I saw that and was like, oh, what's up?
Yeah. So in that, like, it's cool because we get to reveal some stuff that we're working on. We're also going to be part of a horror anthology that's launching in October. We have an 8-page story, exact same Pocus team. We're all together for this thing, and we reveal our Pocus Hocus 5 Kit Wallace cover in the post too. So it's just it's just kind of it's fun for us to do it this way and to really get in front of the eyes of people who want to see it, right? Instead of just posting it on socials and it gets lost in the algorithm. We're still going to do that, but it's just it's nice to have it just kind of isolated together.
Where it's and if you back stuff, and it gets there, it's smart. I dig it. So I'm well done.
It's all Will. This is Will's baby. He's been wanting to do a blog for a while, so yeah.
I'm glad. Well, I'm glad we have. I'm glad we have the Substack because it just it allows the platform to what's the word I'm looking for? Compartmentalize. Like have everything like right there. That we can keep people updated with, as opposed to scattered across different social media platforms, because I have problems with social media sometimes.
I understand.
Really quick, thank you, Alan, very much for for covering that. But the Vimeo.com website is just WillRad. There's no 82.
Oh, sorry.
You're totally fine.
Everything you own is WillRad82.
I know. Yeah, it's my favorite number. So, yeah, it's like everywhere.
Is it Vimeo where that the trailers and?
Yeah, all Will's movies actually.
We need to put. I probably should put the Pocus
trailer and the Grandma Chainsaw one.
And up for that. I mean, if Prevalent Mind will let me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Because I mean, those are 100% related, and I happen to really like the first two Pocus trailers that I shot. They were just a lot of fun. Doing that.
So. It's funny when Alan, when you first said it, I heard Vimeo, but my mind went Venmo. I was
Venmo,
like,
yeah. So Will's Venmo
you're pumping
account.
him to send people.
This is just what everyone just throw money. We don't even really have a Kickstarter. It all just funnels into Will's Venmo.
Just send Will money. But I was like, we can throw my Venmo up too. And we're at it. Like, come on, like share the wealth now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would happily plug my Venmo account and shamelessly ask all of you for more money. But the thing I learned yesterday that I don't have a Venmo account. So I figured this out because I went to an oddities fair and I wanted to buy an oddities t-shirt that they were selling, and I thought I had a Venmo account and I went to do that and I don't. So I won't shamelessly plug a Venmo account, just a Vimeo account. So yeah.
So good. Well, fellas, it's been a blast talking as always. So thanks for coming on.
Oh yeah, thank you for having us.
Anytime we have a project, believe us, we'll be here tugging at your beard. Yeah,
that's what I like to hear. So
yeah, and then we are still going to expect a bearded rating. Whenever whenever we give you the whole issue. Yeah, we no, if it's not 5 beards out of 5, we'll take offense.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is going to be the true test because I'm not typically your target demographic for.
Okay.
I've never been like into slasher movies and things like that. Like, so everyone gets geared up in October for like a different Halloween movie every October. I'm still watching superhero. So like I'm going to be your, like, if you get a rating from me, like, is
then we
a
did
good rating. That's I'm telling you. So, but like I found that I've always said for like ever since I started YouTube, I'm not a horror comic guy, and
now look at you wearing a Pocus t-shirt,
and now I'm rocking a lot more. But y'all do the humor aspect too, which I appreciate, and that's so difficult in writing. We've talked about that a lot, so I appreciate that. So it's.
Oh, sorry.
No, I appreciate that. That's it.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm
not a writer. I don't have a lot to say.
Well, just really quick about that. I think that is something that will appeal to people who aren't like huge on the horror train, is because it is fun. I mean, it's very funny.
It's fun. Yeah,
it's fun.
So, and that's the thing too. Like, it's not, we're just putting. Sorry to take up more time, so I'll try to hurry up and wrap this up.
You're fine. I'm just doing it for your guys' sake too to end it, so it's fine.
With Pocus Hocus, it hits a lot of genres, and Will and I talked about this before, because Pocus has comedy, action, horror, drama, suspense. Like we try to, like, it's weird how it kind of worked out that way. We didn't go in with that intention, and Grandma Chainsaw was kind of the same way, and it wasn't how we approached. It was pretty much the same approach, I guess, really, Will, for how we did with Pocus. It wasn't we got to make sure that we have a scare here, because if we don't have a scare here where it's not true horror, like, we kind of just let it write itself. And Will and I always approach it, if we're not having fun and if we're not making ourselves laugh while we're writing it, then we're missing the mark.
Yeah. What's really funny about this one too is that it very well could have been a situation of like just insert scares here, and here, and plug and play whatever. And of course we don't want to do that, but like I feel like we, like when we sit down to do this, like we inevitably will write like three-dimensional characters you care about or something like that, just because we have no interest in it continuing to write it.
If we can't connect with our own characters,
right?
How are we expecting other people?
Yeah, so even something like this that is silly and wild and outrageous, like there is heart there, and I think that I think the characters are very three-dimensional for a series like this. And but having said that, they're not three-dimensional in the sense that you're not going to get like a melodrama or anything with the comic book. Again, it delivers what it promises. You can be sure of that. But we just always inevitably want to go there to a place where it's like, okay, how can we flesh this out and create something that we care about more and that our readers are going to care about more,
Y'all are just making me more and more excited for this book the more we talk about, because I can see it on your faces as we're talking. You want to share so much more.
Oh my God.
I like just even there, like I saw your brain processing there, Will. You're like, but just
the worst part is whenever I pitched it to Will, I kind of told him where I wanted it to end and how I wanted it to end, and this has been the most difficult thing to talk about because we know exactly where we're going and how we're ending. So it just makes it so difficult.
Well, I mean, it does, but I mean, also, that I was describing that, and I was like, yeah, it has heart, and then I remembered to kill from issue 2, and I was like, oh Jesus,
Yeah.
so, like, there's enough there for everybody, I guess, is the ultimate point, to be made.
But man, it's so good. And yeah, so if you're one of my younger viewers, don't read this comic book, but for everyone else,
Where are you putting the trailer, by the way? Are you putting it at the beginning before we start rambling, or are we putting it now?
You know what? I might put it at the beginning, just because I've always put the trailers at the end.
I think this one, how cinematic it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think
as soon as someone turns on this video, they know what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah, just like like that way we just know off the front, like, okay, well, nope. If you randomly click it, they're like, oh, it's Bearded Comic Bro, blah, and then it's like,
like, oh my God,
or this isn't your parents' Up. This, like whatever. It's gonna just like,
it's not Pixar.
No, this is Grandma on Chainsaw. So, and she's not juggling them, but. So with that being said, gang, thank you all for coming on. Gang, if you go support the Kickstarter, back it. And with that being said, hopefully you can find some time to curl up, grab a book, and nerd out. Peace.